You Will Not Remain is a short 2D narrative experience by indie developer Bedtime Phobias that tells a story of isolation, existentialism, and loss, reflecting and amplifying the problems that many of us are facing today in the real world. The protagonist wakes up in their apartment like they have so many times, a large writhing monstrosity blocking out the horizon in the heart of the city just behind them. It's been weeks, months, maybe years since the creature arrived, and the fighting and panic from the disastrous event has long since subsided. With nothing and nobody left, one person faces the end alone, forced to live one day at a time, trapped in their apartment as the world around them is unceremoniously silenced. Only the soft breaths of the horror in the distance keeping them company. That is, until they hear a bark from the apartment next door. Rather than focusing on the massive apocalyptic events at the forefront of the story as most other narratives would, You Will Not Remain takes a completely different and arguably more horrific approach. There is no hero in this story, no epic quest to save the world, and no understanding of what's even happening. Instead, the game just asks, what do you do when there's nothing left? The dread building up through the game's length is not from the monster itself, but from the emptiness that came in its wake. How do you keep going when all of life's purpose is gone? How do you get up and face each day knowing you've already lost everything? What's the point when it's just you? The player spends each day in this game just trying to pass the time with simple routines, making a cup of coffee, taking care of the plant, trying to find the strength just to make another meal. The only reprieve from this daily monotonous grind comes in the form of a strange dog that you find in your neighboring apartment, talking to it, taking care of it, playing fetch on the roof together, as the ever-present horror looms over the city skyline. Each segment of the game is wrapped up with the protagonist going back to bed, letting the player learn about their past through haunting nightmares that reveal only more tragedy. These dream sequences aren't a full retelling of events, rather a fractured recalling of key moments leading up to the present, their foggy presentation seemingly reflecting the character's unwillingness to relive the experiences. There are no enemies to fight or puzzles to solve in this game, just the crushingly lonesome experience of being completely isolated from the world, playing a simple game of fetch to reflect on life and distract yourself from the ever-present danger that is closed in all around you. I was able to speak with Ella Logren, one of the game's developers, to learn more about the team's development process and their experiences while working on the title. The main game experience was created in 48 hours as part of Women Game Jam 2021, with the events itself actually playing a large role in the development of the narrative. This game jam was initially supposed to be an in-person experience, but the team was unable to meet due to the repeated lockdowns in their area, forcing them to work on the project remotely. This collective feeling of isolation was a large inspiration for the story they would later develop, using an eldritch horror as a metaphor for the pandemic in order to separate the game from real-life events. According to the team, this decision ultimately strengthened the game, especially after seeing the visuals that their artist had created for the project. Not stopping there, Ella and the rest of the team continued to polish the experience after the jam, before releasing the final product for free on January 6th of the next year. We released the game for free as we are passionate about mental health awareness, and wanted the barrier to entry for accessing this game to be as low as possible. Making the game was cathartic, but also awful. I'm glad we made it, and we are blown away with the reception thus far. The game is definitely short, only lasting around 40 minutes for a full playthrough. Despite this, You Will Not Remain still manages to tell an expansive story through a dissociative inner monologue and eerie pixel art that gets its message across even under such a tight time frame, making it a more memorable experience overall that's easy for anyone to pick up. After the game was over, I found myself wanting to see and know more about this world and the events taking place, but in the end, that's one of the crushing points of the narrative. You're left wondering and searching for answers, but, just like the main character, you don't get the satisfaction of closure. The story gives so much by telling so little, grounding you in the protagonist's shoes and forcing you to confront the harshness of true isolation, amplifying the struggles that many people are already facing today from the pandemic, mental health issues, or even both, that can make the world feel just as terrifying. It's because of this grounding and relatability that You Will Not Remain shines as a horror narrative, despite the lack of familiar scares and tension that are commonplace in the genre. I definitely recommend this game to fans of visual novels, dark stories, or indie horror in general, as long as you can stomach the darker and in some cases, disturbingly relatable themes present throughout the game. This has been why you should play You Will Not Remain.